But hey, what's up, everybody? This is Agasky Stanis back with another episode of My Gaming Diary, rounding off Infinity, the gaming channel on YouTube. Tonight I'm playing a little bit of Assetto Corsa on my secondary gaming desktop. So let's go ahead and, one, get started, but also, two, let's run down the hardware that's in play tonight. So like I said, I'm playing on my secondary desktop, which is powered by an Intel Core 3 Skylake processor, to be sure. With 32 gigabytes of DDR3, I think PC 1833 memory. And a single 4 terabyte spinning hard drive at 7200 RPM in the box. And for GPU, it's powered by a GeForce GTX 1060, provided by Zotac in a mini form factor, so it's a half-length board. It's just really nice when doing a custom build, because it just really helps not having to worry about managing that full-length card into the case, and the way that 99% of the time it interferes with the hard drive mount and cable runs in the front of the case. So it's just a really nice board to deal with. It is a 6 gigabyte 1060 also, so it's a full strength 1060. Alright, looks like no damage. So this is one of my favorite racing games. Once I get the hang of it, it does have some particular quirks, particularly in learning how to corner and learning how to get off the line. It does not control like you would expect it to in those cases in particular, because it's such a realistic racing sim. I thought that it would not want me to redline coming off the start, but it actually does. The best thing to do is to just completely put your foot on the gas. I'm in 5th. You do have to finish in 3rd in all. Yep, we're gonna be starting that over. That's the unfortunate thing about this game, is it is punishing and unforgiving. So it's one of those things where if you throw it off completely bone up, you may as well just restart your session. So I am also playing with the Thrustmaster Ferrari 450 Italia wheel and pedals, which amazingly has done great. So it turns out, I thought that I had already played Assetto Corsa on this PC. That turned out to not be the case. I guess it's my primary gaming desktop where I've played it before. Alright, so... No! Right in the second, right off the bat. The unfortunate problem is now that puts me in the position of you just need to not screw it up. So I just noticed a thumbtack down there. One of the problems I've been having with this game is it puts that positional overlay right on top of all your telemetry, so I can't see my fuel or my tire wear state. I also despise how it doesn't show you your current position. It shows you, I think, your position at the end of the preceding full lap. So we'll see here now if when I cross over the finish line up here, if it rolls over and shows me in second place. Yeah, there we go. I really dislike that. But mainly I dislike it because, like I said, I can't see my telemetry, so I'm not... Oh, come on, get out of the grass, come on. Yeah, I got passed by one guy. I think I can pass him up again, though. Probably on the outside again. course, that caused me to go way wide. But yeah, this is one of my favorite games ever. Guy I've been watching on his YouTube channel is a big Project Cars fan, but I really like Assetto Corsa. Like I said, once you figure out some kind of quirks and tweaks you have to work around. Now on the PC, this is fine because there's an expectation for things to be a little more complicated and maybe not, but I've been reading some reviews of this on console, and I can definitely get how, as a console racer, people will be bothered by sometimes a lack of feedback from the menus and some other things that make it a little less intuitive, and you have to administratively deal with a little bit more in this game. And what lap am I on? Blasted final lap, so I've been talking and not really paying attention to queuing myself up to see if I'm going to pass second. Of course, like I said, this game is a little unforgiving. If you make an error because you're overly aggressive, then you're going to be out of the race. So I apologize. I know I'm extremely congested now for being out in the yard all day today. So you're probably hearing my allergies right in your ear. Yeah, I didn't wind him up properly. I'm going to have to settle for third this race. Which is fine, because for about 35 minutes before I recorded this session, I was coming in dead last. Until I finally remembered some of those things that we talked about that I needed to make adjustments for. I think the race is done. These races always end kind of weirdly. Is he back in the pit for some? What did I do? Okay. Yeah, I right-clicked there and I was like, is the game crashing? Bronze. I guess I will take that. Move on to the next race, a time attack. I really hate time attack, because they're really kind of easy and I don't really learn anything from them. But there's no point in putting it off, so I may as well go ahead. So the wheel and pedals are working really great. Usually, with most racing games, since I bought this wheel and pedals, I've kind of struggled to get them working. I think one of the biggest things I figured out is, so as you can see down at the bottom, this is what I might normally see. I also need to back out at some point and get that speed to indicate miles per hour instead of kilometers per hour. So let's go ahead and take a look. Wow. So this car has a lot more lateral G than the Abarth does, obviously. Yeah, but the wheel and pedals now, in stark contrast to the way an initial calibration run would normally work, I'd still be bunking around with this wheel and pedals trying to get it to work for like an hour, and tonight it worked pretty much right out of the box. So if I didn't complete my sentence, I think the secret I found to getting these things to work is in the controller configuration screen, instead of looking for a profile that specifically matches my wheel and pedal set, and then if I didn't find one, like selecting some other Thrustmaster wheel and pedals, just choose the Xbox 360 controller. mean, 90% of these games, racing games, targeted that controller to be compatible with. Even still to this day, I think in most cases the Xbox 360 controller profile works better than even an Xbox One controller profile. And even though the One or One S controller might be better, in most cases I'll still play a game with my wired Xbox 360 controller on PC if I'm going to use a controller. Which I do sometimes in racing games, because while I've gotten back to a point where wheel and pedals actually work, because I've only ever had 2 wheel and pedal sets. I had this one, which is quite a step up, and originally I had a Logitech, it's called a Logitech Wingman force feedback USB yellow was what I used. I really don't have a lot of points for this time attack. Hope that I'm still doing competitive. There we go. Now I'm up in the thousands. But yeah, this is a racing game that I mean, once you have it going and configured correctly and you got everything working, I love this. So yeah, just mating it with the Xbox 360 controller profile pretty much makes this wheel and pedals anyway, and I suspect most wheel and pedals work probably pretty perfectly out of the box without really monkeying around with them too much. Now, I'm sure that there are those gearheads who have to have a perfectly tuned wheel and pedal set. I don't. I'm fine, adjusting to whatever works. So. So let's talk a little bit about the game capture hardware that's in play tonight. So I'm using the AverMedia Game Capture HD2 to do the video capture. So that's the model C285. What I really love about this box, so it's a standalone video capture card. The thing I really love is, in addition to being able to send your game captures to a USB thumb drive or a portable USB drive or a self-powered USB hard drive, none of which I ever really use. There is a hard drive bay in the underbelly of the device where you can just slap a 2.5 millimeter laptop hard drive, which is what I've done. So I've got a 1 terabyte hard drive down there, and I pretty much slap that sucker in there, and I never have to worry about hooking up any other kind of storage. So it's really awesome. That hard drive does have to be configured as NTFS, which is no problem if you're a Windows user. Which, if you game on PC, there's a 98% chance that you most likely are. So, has a little remote control to use to control it. It also has a smartphone app called Gamerdate that AverMedia provides, and is in the Android App Store, in the Google Play Store, I should say, I guess, in the Apple's App Store. I had one instance last week where, after already having suffered a power outage that caused me to lose one game capture, the phone app's interface with the Game Capture HD2 glitched and dropped, and the HD2 crashed, and I had to kind of slam it by pushing the power button for 5 seconds and holding it, kind of like you have to do with a laptop when it blue screens. And I thought I had lost the recording because I couldn't find it. It didn't show up in the directory when I initially brought the box back up. After I had other reasons to shut it down a couple times later in the day, the file appeared, so I actually hadn't lost it, but still, because they gave me quite a scare, I've chosen to stop using the phone app. The only thing the phone app really does is what I really liked is it gave you this big timer display, because all my game captures, and I should be on the clock and really watching the time to make sure they come out at the length that I'm targeting, which I'm bad about. But I really like that. When you would go into the app, it would automatically put your phone in always on mode and would never shut the screen off and would give you that big timer. So, but it's no big deal. It's not really needed, and it forced you to also connect a network cable to the back of the Game Capture HT2, which it has an Ethernet port on the back, and can sit on your network. But I would just so barely came in third. I would just as soon do without it. Since it's not really absolutely necessary now, I just use the remote. So the other thing that's nice about the Game Capture HT2 is it has I thought I came in third. Why'd I get a gold medal? I'm not going to argue with it, though. It has two 3.5mm jacks on the front panel of the device, so one for microphone input and one for headphone output. And N2 is unlocked. So now we got a race. And so I am using both of those tonight. So for the voiceover commentary, I'm using the Thrustmaster Y300 CPX Doom Edition headset. So, and then I am also using that same headset to pipe the in-game sounds into, so I can hear them on the headphone ear cups. Now, I couldn't have just done that. Well, I guess I could have done that natively just by going straight into the front panel, but I would have to use a splitter cable since the Thrustmaster Y300 CPX terminates in a single pole 3.5mm. But I do have an aftermarket splitter that splits those out into separate signals. But to kind of enhance the sound, both of my headset, both of the microphone output and of the headphone input, I've placed the Behringer Xenix 302 USB hardware mixer in between me and the Game Capture HD2. So on the right-hand side of the mixer, there are two ports for 3.5mm connections for microphone and headset and headphones. So I've taken the splitter cable off and put it on the end of the Thrustmaster headset and put them into those two ports. Yeah, sorry about that. That was unintentional. Did I take any damage? Doesn't look like it. And then what I'm doing to get them over to the Game Capture HD2, I really gotta figure this out, because I shouldn't be lagging like this. The biggest problem is I'm faster, but I have not found the room to pass these guys on this track. And here I've got a nice long and wide straightaway. This is 5 laps. If I get a chance, I will, I don't remember what key, I do remember what key it is. I will try and go inside the cockpit, actually. I think I can here. So that's a view of the cockpit. I hate driving in this mode. Okay, I didn't completely throw the whole race away there. So it looks like I'm into 5th. So, and this is kind of cool. So there's a little dial control in the lower right-hand corner of the Ferrari 458 Italian. That's what you use to change views. So if you're somebody who feels very cool to handle all sorts of different kind of controls and knobs, particularly in a highly technical game, There you go. So, so what I do is, like I said, I've got the splitter cable going into the Xenix 302, and then I use two more straight line splitter cables. So I come out of the Game Capture HD2 with a 3.5mm jack cable for the headphones that ends in that ends by splitting out the left and right channels into RCA connection. Nope. It's way too fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I get out here fast enough, I'll get back in. This is a game that really punishes you for getting in the sand trap. I don't know if I'm going to be able to recover that. So I haven't gotten too far ahead. One thing I need to do is I need to put the look behind on a paddle shifter. Right now it's on the directional button. You push down on it, but the problem is that button is in the way lower left-hand corner, so I have to take my hand off the 9 o'clock position and actually move my thumb down to where I can catch it. Yeah, I got just way overly concerned about catching these guys and did not check up on the brakes soon enough going into that turn. But I gotta tell you, there is, for a person who loves racing games, and I think if you love racing games, I don't know, I feel like you almost have to be a PC gamer, because the fidelity of racing that's available on the PC is just so much higher. I mean, look, consoles do a great job, in Forza and Gran Turismo are great series. I've been playing Forza Horizon 3 and Forza, for the last week. But man, there's it's such a much greater experience to be playing something like Assetto Corsa on a PC. That's, and I wouldn't call my secondary gaming desktop a high-end PC, but it's, it's burly enough. It's way more power than was originally, planned for when Assetto Corsa was being developed. Man, lateral G's are just, it must be tires or something going off on this thing. I think I'm in second. I thought I saw a guy way out ahead of me in first. So I use two cables that have a 3.5mm jack on one end and RCA jacks on the other. So one of those is plugged into the headphone output, and then I run that back to the mixer into the line in connection, and then set the switches to send that input over to the headphones. And then I use another cable running in the opposite direction that is connected to the mixer on the main mix output line with RCA jacks, and then run that over to the Xenix 302 USB hardware mixer. I'm sorry, take it out of the Xenix 302 USB hardware mixer and run it over to the Game Capture HD2 and connect in over that 3.5mm jack. So it all works pretty well, and it gives me a little more control than if I just plugged the splitter cable directly into the Game Capture HD2. It lets me control the volume, is a big thing, so since I don't have any ability to mute the Thrustmaster headset, if I needed to get up and walk away, I could just dial down the gain and microphone volume on the mixer and walk away, and not be concerned about any background noise getting into the recording. And at the end of the day, just overall, everything sounds better when I send it through this mixer, or whether I'm receiving audio from a game or sending voice comms into it. So this is a game I really need to put more time in. I've barely scratched the surface of it, and like I said, it is I feel like it's kind of like a Final Fantasy game. It's a little risky to say because I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy games, but I feel like there's these games that are hard. You kind of hit your head against a brick wall until you figure out like the one configuration setting you need to change, or a different way that you need to approach combat or something, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, now I understand this game, right? It's kind of like what I went through with real-time strategy games. I just didn't get it until I played ground control, and then suddenly, the clouds parted and I was able to see the sunlight, and then I've had a great time playing real-time strategy games since then. Like I said, this game, you just gotta learn the little quirk about getting off the starting land, and then for me, what I do is, and you can barely see it, like it just doesn't leap out at you, there is a little setting at the beginning of a race, kind of a little bit above halfway up the screen, a little bit above that on the right-hand side, called opponent strength. And look, I'm just not a gamer who plays for the sake of difficulty. I play for the enjoyment of playing, so that thing is set to 100% when you start the game, and I found that cranking it, and it only allows you to crank it down to 80%. So, it's not even, you can't even crank it below that, so, but I found that cranking that down to 80% makes it an entirely different race than you would otherwise do, get, see, play. So, I think I can just hit escape. Like I said, I guess you just go to the pits to wait for everybody else to come around. I don't know. All right. All right, everybody, so that's going to do it for me. My name has been Gasically Stamus from Gearworks.com. And the E2KG Network. Thanks so much for joining in, for anybody who happens to swing by and watch this archive video of racing and gameplay in Assetto Corsa. I will be back next episode with a little bit more Assetto Corsa, and I'll be playing that throughout the remainder of the weekend, probably. But that's what will be coming up next, and please feel free to like or dislike and give me a little feedback on what you think I could do better. And if you like what I'm doing on the channel, go ahead and subscribe so you can get notified when I put something up new. Because the shtick of this channel is for me to play a lot of different games across a lot of different genres, although racing is obviously a primary staple. So if you're a big racing gamer and you want to see these videos, it might be not bad to subscribe. And if you are just somebody who likes to see a lot of different games otherwise, that's kind of what this channel is about. So please feel free to hit that. And then also check out some of my other content over on the Gearworks.com technology blog, as well as this channel and the E2KG Network, where I co-host some podcasts about gaming, as well as one podcast about the Sci-Fi Network television series Dark Matter, where we are doing rundowns and reviews of each episode every week. So next up we'll be reviewing and talking about episode number 4, which just aired this past Friday. So that's going to do it for me. Thanks a lot for joining in. I'm out of here.